Betty Cobb. Miss Betty had 4 kids. Miss Carlene and her husband Ed, Lloyd Peterson and his wife Pam, Lee Peterson, wife Brenda, Richard Ricky Peterson and wife Debbie. She had 10 grandkids, 19 great-grandkids, and 3 great-great-grandkids. She had 3 fur babies, Smokey, Patches, and Gidget. She loved her animals. They brought her a lot of joy. She was preceded in death by her husband, Jack Cobb.
I come to the garden alone, while the dew is still on the roses, and the voice I hear falling on my ear, the Son of God discloses, and He walks with me, and He talks with me, and He tells me I am His own, and the joy we share as we tarry there, none other has ever known. I stay in the garden with Him, though the night around me be falling, but He bids me go through the voice of woe. His voice to me is calling, and He walks with me, and He talks with me, and He tells me I am His own, and the joy we share as we tarry there, none other has ever known.
Hello, everybody. Thank y'all for coming to the celebration of life for Miss Betty. My name's Greg Willis. I knew Miss Betty personally. I met her, I'd say about 9 years ago. And one day I was walking by her house, and I usually pray on the road there. And I saw her trying to get around. She was stumbling a little bit. So I felt moved to go ask her if she needed help. Well, if you know Miss Betty, she's pretty strong-headed. She told me, no, I don't need any help. So I let it go for a little while. I come back by about a week later. She was ready for a little help. So, so I started helping her with her flower beds and doing this and that for her because she needed help. I didn't know at the time, but I do know now. All her family was somewhere else. She didn't have any family here except for all of us, right? So the Lord provided her a family. He provided all of y'all. He provided Eric. He provided me. He provided my wife Kim and Buffy, and also Parker. She called Parker her grandson. But all of y'all too. She just loved y'all. She talked about the people in Doran. I'm sure she knew each one of y'all, so I know she loved y'all. And she was a straight shooter. She'd tell you what she thought. And I'd just like to say a few things about her. She loved Psalm 91. I'd go and I'd read the Bible with Miss Betty pretty much every day there for a little while she was still living at home. And the first thing she wanted to do is read Psalm 91 every day. And so we do that. And I try to convince her everything was going to be okay. No matter how bad it gets, the Lord has it. And He always does. He always will. And so I'm going to read Psalm 91 for y'all. It's a beautiful psalm, whether you know it or not. Y'all bear with me. Whoever dwells in the shelter of the Most High will rest in the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress, my God, in whom I trust. Surely He will save you from the fowler's snare and from the perilous pestilence. He will cover you with His feathers, and under His wings you will find refuge. His faithfulness will be your shield and rampart. You will not fear the terror of night, nor the arrow that flies by day, nor the pestilence that stalks in the darkness, nor the plague that destroys at midday. 1,000 may fall at your side, 10,000 at your right hand, but it will not come near you. You will only observe with your eyes and see the punishment of the wicked. If you say, the Lord is my refuge, and you make the Most High your dwelling, no harm will overtake you. No disaster will come near your tent, for He will command His angels concerning you to guard you in all your ways. They will lift you up in their hands, so that you will not strike your foot against a stone. You will tread on the lion and the cobra. You will trample the great lion and the serpent, because He loves me, says the Lord. I will rescue him. I will protect him, for he acknowledges my name. He will call on me, and I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble. I will deliver him and honor him. With long life, I will satisfy him and show him my salvation. And I read that to her almost all the time. Even when she was in the nursing home, we'd go in and read it to her. And it just gave her such comfort. And one of the biggest comforts she had was talking to her daughter, Carlene. And this is for Carlene. Carlene, your mama loved you with all her heart. She talked about you just about every time I ever seen her, every day. She let me know how much she loved you. And you and Ed both. And not only you and all of your children, all of her grandchildren, she also loved the boys, Rick, Lee, and Lloyd. And she talked about them constantly. But she was just the sweetest person. I'm so blessed, me and Kim, and I'm sure all of y'all were so blessed to have known her and the sweetheart that she had. I helped her grow tomatoes in the summertime for about 3 years now, probably in a row. And she only did it. She did it for y'all. She wanted to share whatever she had to share. If you got any of those tomatoes, you know I'm telling you the truth. She just loved to give. No matter what it was just a small thing. To her, it was a lot. And there's nobody like her that I know. And I'll always miss her. But I can tell you now, she's in a better place than we are right now, because she believed in Jesus Christ. There is no other way. He is the way, the truth, and the life. And if you know him, you know where you're going. It's all about a personal relationship with him. And she also loved for me to read Revelation 21, verse 4. And when the Lord tells them there'll be no more pain, no more suffering, for the former things have passed away. And that gave her great comfort too. And she was just a sweetheart, y'all. I will always miss her, but I know she's in a better place. Until we get there with her again, we'll always remember her. So you can have peace knowing that she is in a better place. I know. I read the Bible with her and I saw her heart. But anyway, she loved her cats. She had 2 cats. She had a cat named Smokey. Actually, I still feed Smokey every now and then. Jerry probably knows Smokey, but I'm sure he comes to his house to eat too. But, I feed Smokey, and the other cat was always scared of me, so it wouldn't come to me. But anyway, I leave food every now and then. But she also had a dog. Her dog's name was Gidget. And the little dog didn't like anybody else but her. That dog would bark from the time I got there. And I went all the time to see her now, almost every day to her house. And that dog barked at me every time I went there until I left. The only time the dog stopped barking is when I read the Bible, and the dog would hush during that time. It was amazing, y'all. It just was.
That's true. That's true.
But she was a true joy to be around. She talked about baseball. She loved baseball. She loved the San Diego Padres.
Yep, she did.
So one year she bought the on this she bought the package where you get the baseball every day. Every day I had to fix her TV because it'd always go haywire. So every day I'd go over, me and Kim would fix her TV so she could see the Padres play. And so they play late at night, so she didn't care. She'd stay up late at night. But she loved football too, y'all. She loved the San Diego. What was the San Diego team?
Chargers.
Chargers. That's right. San Diego Chargers. I think there's something else now, though, right? Los Angeles Chargers.
I think it's Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, she loved that too. She loved that because Carlene loved it,
Yeah.
and she wanted to hear it. In the end, she couldn't even see anymore, so, but she still wanted to hear it.
Yeah.
She wanted to hear it. But she was just a sweetheart. And like I said, there's nobody else quite like her. She talked about fishing. Her and Jack, her husband Jack, they used to fish all the time. And she said he caught a big bass. She'd show me every time we went by the road
Yeah.
about the pond he caught the big fish in. So we always go that way. But so I took her to the doctor a lot too because she got to where she couldn't drive. So I really got to know her really well because I'd take her to the doctor. I had time once a month. I'd take her to the doctor. And so she adopted me as her son, me and Eric both. She adopted, I guess, all of y'all as her family. But I just like to tell y'all, she was a sweetheart. So she's wonderful.
First of all, I'd like to thank Jeanette and Cheryl Lynn for singing in the garden. That was just Betty's favorite song, and she told me probably 15 years ago, when I die, you better have Cheryl Lynn and Jeanette to sing at my funeral, and I want them to sing this. I've known Miss Betty for nearly 30 years. Miss Betty was a giving person. She loved people. I remember I would go up to a florist and she would say, "Don't just sit there, get you a vase or a basket, you start trying to fix some arrangements." She taught me a lot about floral arrangements. She was always worried that she was going to charge people too much for her stuff. She'd say, "These florists right here, they charge you double, but I can't do it." The last several years, she had a business. She didn't make anything. She lost. She was paying more for flowers than what she was making on them. I remember one year it was Mother's Day, and all these older gentlemen was coming in to get corsages for the wives, and she wasn't even charging them for them. She was just giving them the corsages to take home. There was times when during the holidays she would just make centerpieces and take to some of the elderly people in town just for them to have something at Christmas to put on the table. She loved my boys, Cameron and Dylan. She never forgot the birthdays. Dylan was probably 3 years old when I started going up there, and she'd tell him, "Get in that jar and get you a piece of candy out." But she always, and Cameron would tell you, "Daddy, she never forgets my birthday." She'd send him a birthday card. She was just a giving person. One thing she made clear was that she had a pound cake angel named Parker.
Yeah.
She loved the pound cakes. A couple of weeks ago, Parker made her a pound cake, and he cut it up in bite-sized pieces and put them in little Ziploc bags and brought them up to the nursing home just so she could get a little piece of pound cake throughout the day to eat some pound cake. She loved Greg and Kim. She told me several times that she knew God sent them to her, that he would help her with her devotion, reading the Bible. She said she didn't know what she would do without them. Miss Judy Howell, her niece, she loved you so much. She would tell me often, she didn't know what she would do if you hadn't took her to the doctor's office. One of the biggest thing was when y'all ran into the doctor's office with the car. Y'all went straight on in and y'all made it to drive-through whether it was or not.
She told me that every time. Every time we
She
went
never
by.
forgot that. She said, "Not scared or dead." She said, "I don't know if I can drive with her again," but she did. She looked forward to it. When Mr. Jack, her husband, passed away, I gave Miss Betty a poem that was given to me when my dad passed away. It was entitled A Letter from Heaven. And she asked me, she said, Eric, when I do pass away, because one day I will, I want you to read that poem. So I'm going to attempt to read the poem. But it says, Letter from Heaven, to my dearest family, some things I like to say. But first of all, to let you know that I've arrived today. I'm writing this from heaven. Here, I dwell with God above. Here, there are no more tears or sadness. Here, there's just eternal love. Please do not be unhappy just because I'm out of sight. Just remember that I'm with you every morning, noon, and night. That day I had to leave you when life on earth was through. God picked me up and hugged me, and he said, I welcome you. It's good to have you back again. You were missed while you were gone. As far as your dearest family and friends, they'll be here later on. I needed you here badly. You are part of my plan. There's so much we have to do to help our mortal man. God gave me a first things that he wished me to do, and foremost on this list was to watch and care for each of you. And when you lie in bed at night, the days and chores put to flight, God and I are closest to you in the middle of the night. When you think of life on earth and all those loving years, because you are only human, they are bound to bring you some tears. But do not be afraid to cry. It does relieve the pain. Remember, there would be no flowers if there were no rain. I wish that I could tell you all that God has planned, but if I were to tell you, you wouldn't understand. But one thing is for certain, through my life on earth is over. I'm closer to you now than I ever was before. There are many rocky roads ahead of you and many hills to climb, but together we will do it by taking one day at a time. When you're walking down the street and you got me on your mind, I'm walking in the footsteps, only a half a step behind. And when it's time for you to go from that body to be free, remember, you're not going. You're coming here to be with me.
I'm kind of homesick for a country to which I've never been before. No sad goodbyes will there be spoken, for time won't matter anymore. Beulah land, I'm longing for you, and someday on thee I'll stand, for there my home shall be eternal. Beulah land, sweet Beulah land. And I'm looking now just across the river to where my faith shall end in sight. There's just a few more days to labor, then I will take my heavenly flight. Beulah land, I'm longing for you, and someday shall be eternal. Beulah land, sweet Beulah land.
I was asked to read Psalm 23, and it says, "The Lord is my shepherd, I lack nothing. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside quiet waters, and he refreshes my soul. He guides me along the right path for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the darkest valley, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows. Surely your goodness and love will follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever." I stood in the loneliness of a mother old and gray. Her voice so weak she could hardly speak. I brushed a tear away. She was watching the little snowflakes falling on the window pane. Then she breathed a sigh and then replied, "I'll be going to be with Jesus come spring. Before the roses bloom in my garden, I'll be gathering flowers in a better land. Before the fields are green, before the robin sings, I'll be going to be with Jesus come spring." There's a big gate standing open, and a gentle voice calls me home. Well, soon I'll be in God's country, in a garden of my own, with my troubles all behind me, and my body free from pain. When the sun melts the snow and the warm winds blow, I'll be going to be with Jesus come spring. And now the roses have bloomed in her garden, and the warm winds blow across the fields of green. She's gone where angels sing. Earth's loss is heaven's gain. But we'll meet when God gathers flowers come spring. But we'll meet when God gathers flowers come spring.
Heavenly Father,